Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're gonna go right into my experience so far with the GFX100RF. It's been 4 months since this camera's been out, at least in my possession. And I can tell you right now that the experience has been good, very good actually. If you follow the channel, you know I shoot GFX line of cameras. I've had the 50RF, traded that in because I knew this was coming out. And then I had the 100S, upgraded it to the 100 II. I've been shooting GFX now for a few years. And when I saw that they were coming out with this camera, I was super excited. I've done a few videos on what I felt Fuji could actually do with this camera and what I would hope they do. And even what they did on my initial video I talked about was like, yeah, we'll see how I get along with that. So what I want to do real quickly is tell you guys how I've been getting along with this camera. And then the accessories that I use for this camera. For those who might be looking at it and what I've done so far accessory wise and making this more of an ergonomic, good feeling camera for me to go out and shoot when I'm doing my street photography and things like that. So let's get into exactly the differences and what's going on with this camera and where I'm at now with it. So as you guys know, the GFX100RF is being seen as a big brother to the 100 series. Why? Because the styling is the same. They basically use the 100 series styling cues for this camera and gave us what I believe is a beautiful first leaf shutter 100 megapixel fixed lens camera for the GFX line. There were some things about this camera folks were not excited about when it came out, and in my opinion, and that's what you're about to get, is it really does come down to the way you shoot. So first things first, when it comes to no IBIS, well, I shoot film, guys, and I said that before, so I understand what it's like to shoot without IBIS. There's pluses and minuses to it, and of course you have to understand that limitation for yourself, and if you can't get along without IBIS, then this ain't gonna be the camera for you. If you need IBIS, I don't need IBIS to get shots. You know, if you follow the channel and you see the images that hopefully I'm sending across right now, I think I'm doing great. I think I have done great in the past with my film cameras, medium format, 35mm film, and the cameras I own now that don't have IBIS. Like for instance, I have my XE4 back from my son and I shoot that. There's no IBIS in it. I've shot the XT20 and those cameras before IBIS came along. IBIS didn't really come along to the XH1 for Fuji, and when it did, it still wasn't that great. And I shot 2 of those bad boys, but I digress. Don't have a concern with this not having IBIS. If I need it, if I need more steadier hands, or I know I'm going to be shooting in low light, I will have to make those adjustments. Pull out a tripod if I need to. Deal with the higher ISOs and play with them in post. When it comes to the aspect ratio dial, I thought it was a little gimmicky when I got it. And I can honestly say I still think it's a little gimmicky. I do like that I can put it in command and work the command dials on the front and back of this camera like I do now when I go out and do my street photography. And that's what's more important to me. I like that I can use this button right here on that lever to switch between the things that I have on set for command dial and be able to use this dial to change the aspect ratio quickly. So that's working for me. And I do actually like the dial on the back. It does add to the difference in this camera than the 100 series. As far as the levers on the front here, as I back this up, this lever right here, I don't really hit it. And I didn't really hit it even before I got this case, because the case is relatively new. The dial above it, the knurling is enough for me to feel that difference, especially with the bump out on this. Sorry, there was some noise I had to go take care of, but when it comes to the dial itself, I do wish it did click in to give me another opportunity for features to be able to put in there and utilize like it is on the X100. And I also wish that the firmware was such, just like with the X100, that this button up here I could use to make instant record like I can with the X100 VI. And that's just something that hopefully they'll look into and do a firmware update and allow us to do it. But it's something that's not on any GFX camera, so they probably weren't thinking about that. This only has an EVF, not an OVF, and I have no issue with that because I float between the two on the 6, but I tend to use the EVF more than I use the OVF. What else is there? Oh, the lens, that's right, the f4. Well, I shoot medium format. Most medium format lenses tend to be f4 for the cameras I shoot, whether that's the Fuji GA645 film camera, whether it's the Mamiya 645 film cameras that I have, and then the fact that most of the GFX lenses that I've been shooting before this camera came out, the fastest was the big guy, the 110, and then you had a 3.5, but the majority of them all are f4. So for me, it was just a matter of treating this lens the same way I treat it on when I'm using the other camera, which is pay attention to my light, make sure I'm getting the most out of it. And if it gets too crazy on the shutter, or I should say ISO speed and the shutter setting, then I gotta have another camera to use, right? So there you go. How am I getting along with it? I'm getting along with it very good. Now I say very good because there are some things I'm still trying to figure out with this camera. Like for instance, on the back, if you shoot Fuji, in the top right corner right here, you have a button on the touchscreen that allows you to press it, and you go from an area where you can press to an area, or you go to autofocus where you press it and then it autofocuses on that. And then it will then go from that to off. Well, I hit that button somehow a lot, and I always move my focus because it's active on area. I got to figure out if that's something I can set to where it's always on off, because somehow I missed that. And yeah, so I'm always finding that when I do turn this camera on, that the focus square is not where it was last. It's moved because somehow I moved it before I turned the camera off. That is my biggest hiccup, guys. That's it. That's my biggest hiccup on what's going on with this right now. So let's get into the accessories, because honestly, you can tell from the images, I'm really enjoying this, and from how I'm speaking about it, I'm going to be looking to enjoy this for some time to come. I was a little bummed that there wasn't a lot of accessories third-party wise that I can use the way I want to on this camera. And what I mean by that is, yes, this camera does come with Fuji accessories. Comes with a lens hood, which I think is fantastic. Matches the styling and everything. Comes with a UV protection filter, which I think is fantastic. I don't have to buy one. Kudos Fuji. Comes with a strap. Most of them do, but this one is nice. It's a different type of rope type strap. I think it's fantastic. But because of that aspect ratio dial, this one was a hard one to figure out how you would get a thumb rest on it, because most of my cameras like these now, my Q3 and Q2, actually all my cameras with the exception of the medium format, I tend to want to use a thumb rest to help me with the ergonomics on the camera. And it's been a minute trying to find something to do that with this. But the small rig half case is nice. I like the way it dresses up the camera and protects the front. I know this comes with a strap and strap lugs, but I have my own straps I like to use, and I like to use Peak Design. So I may or may not use that strap. We'll see. But the other thing I didn't like about the small rig was I'm not going to stick anything to my camera. It has a little thing that you can stick to the back. It's a little wood thing to help with ergonomics in the back. And based on its placement, one, for me, it ain't great. And then two, I don't want to stick anything to the camera. So as far as the shutter button goes, I actually kind of splurged on my shutter button. I'll pull it up here so you can see it. And this guy right here is, I think, an Artist Obscura shutter button. It actually is. And I got a few of them. And they're not cheap, but I kind of wanted to put a nicer button on this, because why, this camera's basically $5 and I felt that I wanted to make sure if I'm gonna put something on there that helps to identify it as my camera, I wanted to put something nice on there. But I am still searching for a good case. Now, Tilta makes a case for, or at least a kind of wraparound L bracket top plate thumb rest steel for the Fuji, and they now have one for the GFX. And guys, I'll tell you, presentation's everything. So I just got this thing, and this is the box that this thing comes in. This box it's just the box for the box. I haven't opened this yet, but this would be the GFX100RF version of it. And I'm gonna throw this thing on real quick and then show you guys at the end of the video what it looks like on the camera, but I will take it out right now. Wow, this is really something. It shows a diagram in the plate on what everything is going to look like and how to put everything on. And then you have everything right there. I got to give it to Tilta on this, because I didn't expect this to be the type of presentation it was going to be, but it comes with, and I'll show you guys this real quick, top plate, hot shoe cover. This top plate also has in it, I believe, the thumb rest setup too, so I'll have to check that out once I get it on. It comes with a bag for the accessories, the plate itself, which is Aqua Swiss, and a nice colored wood hand grip. Now, the reason I didn't like the 100 series hand grip, because I think it protruded too far out. I see what they did for the XT50, and that looks great. It reminds me of IDS's grip, which honestly I have on my camera here, and I like that it's a little bit smaller profile. It's just enough. And that's what I was looking for with the GFX. So I'm gonna get this on. Also, it comes with a quick release tripod mount plate too, which I think that's what that is. So this is pretty exciting. I'm gonna get this on. So I'm gonna pause this, put this on, get this back on and show you guys, and that'll be that. So as I continue with this camera, I'll continue to give you guys updates on what I'm doing with it and how I feel about it and so forth, and ask your questions. So let's go ahead and pause this video and do that. Okay guys, and here it is. There's the top plate. Hopefully that focuses. And you put a screw in right, well, let me make sure I'm looking at this right here. Let me hide my face. So a screw goes in right there. A screw goes in the front right here. So that's 1, 2. A screw goes in at the bottom right here for the bottom plate, which has a grip on it, which I think that color looks fantastic. And it does work well with the shutter button I have on there, so I'm happy about that. And then a screw goes in when you have this open at first, because this is part of the thumb rest right here, which you don't need the top plate on to have the thumb rest, which I think is great. So without the top plate, which if you don't want to see Tilta up there like this there now, you can take that off, and then you can take off the hot shoe cover too. I like the fact that that slides off and gives you access to the hot shoe cover, so you still can use it, which is great. So because it doesn't use the hot shoe cover for that, but I do like that the L bracket itself has the thumb rest that part of it, excuse me. But I think that looks gorgeous. What do you guys think? So there's the side. So you got 3 points of contact if I kept the top plate on there, and there's the bottom. So I got full access to the battery, and I definitely have access to the memory cards on the side, and I have access on the other side to the audio and computer connections and charging for the USB-C. So yeah, this is great. They got that little GFX lettering right there. Now again, this thing also comes with a bracket that with it looks like those are quarter thread screws on the bottom that you can attach to something, and then attach the camera to it, Aqua Swiss. And then for the loops, you could use whatever you want there for your strap loops, because they also give you some that you could put on there to be able to mount to, say, maybe a strap, and these become the ones that attach to the camera. Don't know if I'm gonna use that, because again, I use Peak Design for most of my stuff, but the presentation for this and the instructions and everything is crazy. So I know I spent a little extra time on the Tilted thing. I probably could have did a video on the Tilted thing alone, but I do want to go out and play with this thing a little and play and see what it's like. I do like that wood grain is in the bottom too. So kudos to Tilta for what is going to be probably my hand grip of choice for this camera for most of the time. And then when I want to dress it up a little more, I'll go back to the leather half case with the small rig. So, all right, I spent a lot of time on this video. Later.